Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today I want to talk about boundaries. Boundaries ties into the whole mental health thing because it's actually really hard to put boundaries in place. But I think when you have a chronic illness, it's really important to be able to put boundaries in place with the people in your lives. And boundaries are healthy. A lot of times people think about boundaries as being unhealthy, but boundaries are really, really healthy, especially if you have someone on the other side that respects them. Sometimes we can be at a different emotional and mental place than our friends or our family, and that's okay. We have to be able and willing to grow together if we want to keep certain people in our lives. So you have to have some grace within this. And I think it's really important to just have open conversations. One thing that's kind of always happened throughout my life is that people often come to me and confide in me, and I feel pretty honored by that. I feel really honored when you guys reach out to me and you ask me questions and you want help. It means a lot to me. And I have certain friends that reach out to me. I'm kind of their person, and it genuinely means a lot to me. But there are certain times when I just have to kind of say, no, I can't help you with this in this moment because I don't have the capacity for it. It actually happened recently with a beautiful friend that I have. She reached out to me. She told me she was safe, which is something that a lot of my friends do. Then she said she just wanted to talk some things out. Nothing that had to do with me, just some life circumstances that I know about. I checked in with her later, but I knew at the moment that she asked me that I was not going to be okay enough to help her through whatever she needed to talk through. We had a very open conversation about it the next day, completely respectful on both sides, and we came to an understanding. And she's going to be okay in the future if I say I don't have the capacity to help you at this moment. Do you have someone else? And she does. And that was the thing that I needed to know. So one thing that I did when I moved to Toronto 13 plus years ago, crazy, is I looked around at the friends that I had in my life at that moment, and I said, okay, who are really good friends that I want to maintain relationships with? And 5 people stuck out in my mind. Only one of those people have come with me the whole time. That list has changed and grown and shifted, and that's okay. That's what happens with friendships and relationships. But that was really important for me. And now I have this network of people that I know that I can reach out to if I'm not doing okay. And if I can't get a hold of the one person, then I can reach out to the other person. If I can't get a hold of that person, I can reach out to another person. And my number one person that I reach out to also is going through a lot of stuff. There are times when she just has to respond, hey, I can't talk right now. Are you okay? And that's fine. And I'll say, yeah, I just wanted to chat. Or I'll say, no, but I'm safe, and I'll reach out to someone else. And that's okay. And there's the respect there and the trust there because we've had open conversations about this. I think that there's a really beautiful thing in vulnerability. Being vulnerable with someone else shows that you trust them. I would rather someone have a difficult conversation with me than just completely shut me out of their life. I think that if you care enough about me, you're going to talk to me and say, hey, I didn't like it when you did this or whatever, instead of just completely shutting me out. That's really important to me. And I have so much respect for people that will say, hey, when you did this, I was affected and this is why. That's a really big thing. That's a hard thing. It's a hard thing to have that conversation with someone, and it's a hard thing to hear that. I think if you want to have genuine friendships and relationships, that's really important. So one of the boundaries that I put in place and that I challenge myself with is being able to say no when I know that I'm not going to be okay. I had to shut down a conversation with someone months ago because it was starting to put me into a spiral. And that person sadly didn't respect that fact and was pretty snarky with me when I shut down that conversation. And unfortunately, I have lost that friendship, which sucks. And I miss that person every day. I needed to put that boundary in place, and they weren't respectful of that boundary. And do we need to have a conversation about that? Yes, we do. Which brings me to another point. Pride. Pride often gets in the way of setting boundaries and having those difficult conversations. I know I don't love asking for help, and especially with a chronic disorder, I want to prove that I can do all of the things by myself. It's hard to get to the point where you can ask people for help, but I think we need to be able to learn how to put our pride aside, ask for help, be open, be vulnerable, and just genuinely show that we trust the people in our lives. Now, these conversations are difficult, and it can be difficult to just feel like, you know what, I have to put up a boundary in place here. It's important to have those conversations with your friends when you're not in that spot, and just say, a boundary that I need to put in place is that I'm not always going to be available for you if you need me, because sometimes I'm not okay when you reach out. And hopefully they're going to be respectful of that. So I have PTSD and I don't always know when I'm going to be triggered. When you have PTSD, your trigger can happen at the drop of a hat. You have no idea that it's about to happen. Thankfully, I have conversations with my friends so that they understand that, and I'm trying to get enough of a handle on it so that I can be like, I'm being triggered, I need to stop this conversation. Most of my friends at that point will be like, I'm sorry, are you okay? We can pick up the conversation at another time, but I need to be able to ground myself and be okay before the conversation can continue. This is all a part of the mental health struggle. It's really hard because we don't want to feel like a burden. We don't want people to not like us because we're asking them to do certain things for us. I mean, I think this applies to anyone, not just people with chronic disorders. There's a lot of anxiety in being vulnerable and in asking for help. I think it's really important to be able to set boundaries with people and just say, this is what I need. This is what I need for my mental health. This is really important. And those boundaries can ebb and flow. They can change. They don't have to be the same for the rest of your lives. I think it's just really important to start incorporating these things into your life. When you have a chronic disorder, you're not going to be able to do all of the things that other people are able to do. And sometimes friends forget that. I think I mentioned once, I went for a walk recently with a friend, and at one point I just said, okay, I need to slow down. She was really sweet. She immediately apologized and said, oh my gosh, I haven't even asked you how you're doing. Are you doing okay? Like, this has been a really long walk. Are you all right? And I just kind of said, no, like that's fine. I don't want you to think of me as, you know, the person with fibromyalgia. I want you to just see me as your friend. And if you were to ask me how I was doing every single second of the day, we'd have to have a different conversation. I have the strength to be able to tell you that I need to slow down when we're walking because I'm in too much pain, or that I need to take a break. But it can be really hard to do that because we don't want people to see us as weak. We don't want people to see us as fragile. Maybe we used to run marathons and all of a sudden we can't do that anymore. And that can be a really big mind meld because we're afraid people are going to see us in a different light. Again, it comes down to that vulnerability and that trust. I'll say it again. I think that there's a lot of strength in vulnerability. I think there's a lot of strength in asking for help, asking for, in my life, prayer, in reaching out and just saying, hey, I need help with this thing, or hey, I'm really struggling today. Can you send me pictures of adorable puppies? Or, you know, things like this. I think there's a lot of strength in that. I think it all comes back to, again, just opening up the conversation and ending the stigma that talking about mental health things is a problem and is bad. Some people are afraid to put boundaries in because there seems to be a negative connotation with that too, but I don't think that there is. It's not something you can do overnight. It's not like you're suddenly going to know every boundary that you need and then you're going to be like, here they all are, incorporate them, please. I think boundaries are important to start thinking about. If you've never thought about boundaries or putting some in place, start thinking about it. What is something that you need in your life that other people maybe take advantage of or make you feel crappy about? The thing with boundaries though is that you have to have really gentle conversations with people and tactful. Like, don't be a jerk about it. Genuinely ask them if they can honor this boundary for you. And 9 times out of 10, they're going to be able to do it. For me, I think incorporating people's boundaries into your life comes from respect. So something that's been brought into light more in the past couple of years is something just with people using different pronouns even. I have someone in my life that asked me very early into our friendship to refer to them as they, them. And have I messed up? Yeah, I have. I have messed up. And they've just gently said to me, hey, no, they, and just kind of laughed it off. And they know that I'm trying. And because they know that I'm trying and I'm remorseful when I mess up, it's okay. And there's a gentleness there and we're okay with each other. In another vein, I have a friend who recently, in the past couple of years, came out as trans. I spent an entire day with her and at the end of the day said thanks, and I used her male name at the end of the full day spending time with her. And she just laughed and I went, I'm so sorry. I am so sorry. And she just went, it's okay. It's a transition and we all have to get used to it. That's the understanding and respect that is needed and required on both sides. If it's not there, there's going to be an issue. So within boundaries, it's really important to have respect, grace, tactful conversations, honesty, and vulnerability. It's something to start thinking about if you've never thought about before. And I hope that this video has encouraged you to maybe start standing up for yourself a little bit in a tactful and respectful way, getting a handle on some things that you might not have a handle on. It took me being diagnosed with PTSD 2 years ago in order to realize how important boundaries were in my life. I've started slowly incorporating what I need into my life, and it's been one of the best decisions I could make. I hope this helps you. I'm gonna go home now because I am freezing. This was a bad idea. And I'll talk to you guys soon. Make it a great day.